read that T.S.Eliot's Four Quartets was sort of an influential text for you during the creation of this season. Tell us a little bit about how this post-World War II text connects to the Asgardian god of mischief.
Firstly, thank you so much. You've clearly done an enormous amount of research into it.
I did a lot of Googling. Yeah.
Okay. I feel that's a huge compliment. Okay, this is the truth. At the end of the filming of season 1, I think we were in the last day of filming, maybe it was the day before, and Kevin Wright, our absolutely extraordinary producer of both seasons, came up to me in a tea break with Eric Martin, who had been on the writing staff of season 1. And he said to me, okay, I think this is the end of the first chapter. What's season 2 about? And I heard myself say, I just quoted a passage from the Four Quartets, which is a poem I love. And it's one of right towards the end. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. And I can't explain where it came from, but basically it was Eliot expressed far more eloquently and articulately than I could where I wanted to go, which was we had broken this character down. We'd cracked his psyche open with existential doubt and crisis, but the journey wasn't over. And I thought, how do we bring it full circle? That's why that line, to arrive at where we started and know the place for the first time. And it became a kind of North Star, and it generated conversations between all of us. Like, what does that mean? Do we go back to the beginning? Where did we start? We started with a young boy who was a prince, who was told, only one of you can ascend to the throne, but you were both born to be kings. And is the ending a throne? But a throne that comes in a shape he would never recognize, and with a burden he would never have understood. And then going back to glorious purpose, that, sort of immortal line that he utters in Avengers, I am Loki of Asgard, I'm burdened with glorious purpose. To arrive at where we started and know the place for the first time. As Mobius says, sometimes purpose is more burden than glory. And then I started reading the Four Quartets, and the poem itself is such an extraordinary work of literature and art, is very abstract, and I think is Eliot making sense in the wake of all that loss of life, of grief and rebirth and time and memory, and how time perhaps isn't linear. It's much more complex. And we were telling a story which was, I opened the first page of the Four Quartets, and I think the very first line is, time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. And I gave a copy to Eric Martin, and 2 months later he presented me with the first episode, and Loki was time slipping from time present into time past and into time future. So I'm sort of hoping that, I think Eliot I gave it to Eric and said, I don't know if this will help you. I hope it does. Let it, take a line and let it inspire you. I just knew it was a rich source of material. There's another line, I think, and this really relates to, I think you've just seen episodes 5 and 6, am I correct? There's a beautiful passage in the latter part of the last quartet, which runs something like this. And what you thought you came for is only a shell, a husk of meaning, from which the purpose breaks only when it is fulfilled. Either you had no purpose, or the purpose is beyond the end you figured and is altered in fulfillment. And I looked at it, I thought, that's Loki.
Yeah.
And what you thought you came for is only a shell, a husk of meaning. Anyway, I draw inspiration from everywhere, and I thought, well, you can't find better inspiration than T.S. Eliot, so I'll take it.